Hello, everyone. Today, we're diving into a common problem faced by English learners, the struggle of forgetting words while trying to speak. This challenge can be frustrating, but don't worry. By understanding the reasons behind it and implementing effective strategies, you can overcome this hurdle and gain confidence in your English speaking abilities. Part 1. Understanding why you forget words. Lack of regular practice. Language skills deteriorate when not practiced regularly. If you don't use the words you learn, your brain tends to forget them. Anxiety and nervousness. Speaking a new language can be intimidating. Anxiety can block memory recall, making it harder to remember the right words. Limited vocabulary. A small vocabulary can make you rely on the same set of words. When you need a word outside your comfort zone, you might struggle to recall it. Overthinking. Grammar. Focusing too much on grammatical correctness might delay word recall, leaving gaps in your speech. Lack of contextual learning. Memorizing words without understanding their use in real-life situations makes it harder to retrieve them during conversations. Cultural or contextual disconnect. Words learned out of context or without cultural nuance can make it hard to integrate them naturally into conversations. Part 2. Strategies to improve word recall. Expand and reinforce your vocabulary. Thematic learning. Focus on learning vocabulary in themes, e.g., food, travel, work. Active repetition. Use tools like flashcards or spaced repetition apps, e.g., Anki, Quizlet. Word associations. Link new words to images, emotions, or similar sounding native words. Use mnemonics and visualization. Create mental stories or images that include the new words. Example: to remember elegant, imagine a ballerina gracefully dancing in an elegant ballroom. Practice speaking daily. Speak to yourself in English, narrate your day, or describe objects around you. Join online language exchange platforms like italki, HelloTalk, or Tandem to practice with native speakers. Focus on chunking. Learn phrases instead of individual words. For instance, instead of memorizing restaurant, learn, can we go to a restaurant? Engage in active listening. Listen to podcasts, watch movies, or follow YouTube channels in English to hear words used naturally. Write down new words or expressions and practice using them. Leverage context and situational learning. Practice words in real-life scenarios. If you're learning words about shopping, imagine or act out a shopping scenario. Overcome anxiety. Through practice, record yourself speaking and listen back to identify improvement areas. Participate in group discussions or public speaking clubs like Toastmasters. Gamify your learning. Use language apps with interactive exercises like Duolingo or Memrise. Play word games like Scrabble, Wordle, or crosswords. Part 3. Building confidence in conversations. Start with simpler sentences. Don't aim for perfection. Begin with simple, clear sentences to convey your thoughts. Pause and rephrase. When you forget a word, don't panic. Take a moment to think or explain your idea with other words. Learn synonyms and substitutions. Familiarize yourself with synonyms so you have backup words ready. Example: if you forget astonished, Say, very surprised. Ask for help or clarification. Don't hesitate to ask your conversation partner for help. What's the word for? Or, can you remind me what this is called? Learn to use fillers. Use phrases like, let me think, what's the word, or, to buy time while recalling words. Part 4. Habits for long-term improvement. Create a vocabulary journal. Write down new words, their meanings, and sample sentences daily. Review this journal frequently. Read regularly. Read books, articles, and blogs in English to encounter words in various contexts. Highlight and note unfamiliar words to learn later. Immersion techniques. Surround yourself with English by changing the language settings on your phone, watching English shows with subtitles, or listening to English radio stations. Use technology and AI tools. Leverage AI tools like ChatGPT for interactive conversations and personalized learning tips. Use text-to-speech tools to hear correct pronunciation and improve fluency. Part 5. Understanding the learning curve. Be patient with yourself. Language learning is a gradual process. Celebrate small milestones. Track progress. Keep a log of the new words you've learned and review your progress weekly. Develop a growth mindset. Embrace mistakes as opportunities to learn rather than setbacks. Part 6. Real-life practice tips. Engage in role-playing. Practice scenarios like ordering food, introducing yourself, or asking for directions in English. Find a speaking buddy. Partner with someone who is also learning or a fluent English speaker. Join communities. Participate in English-speaking groups, forums, or social media communities focused on language learning. Challenge yourself. Participate in language challenges like speaking only in English for a day. Part 7. Strengthening recall through memory techniques. Spaced repetition. Revisit vocabulary at increasing intervals. For example, learn a word today, review it tomorrow, then 3 days later, then a week later, and so on. Apps like Anki or SuperMemo are excellent tools to help with this. Use personalization. Link words to your life to make them more memorable. Example: if you learn the word breathtaking, connect it to a personal memory, like a stunning sunset you saw. The memory palace technique. Imagine a familiar place, like your house, and assign each room or object to a word you want to remember. Walk mentally through your house to recall those words. Storytelling. Create a short story using several new words you want to remember. Example: if you're learning curious, adventure, and forest, craft a story about a curious child exploring an enchanted forest. Part 8. Practical exercises for everyday use. 5 words a day. Learn 5 new words every day and use them in sentences. Try to include them in conversations. Word substitution game. Take sentences you commonly use in your native language and translate them into English. Replace simpler words with more advanced synonyms. Example: replace happy with joyful or elated. Improv exercises. Randomly pick a topic and speak about it for 1 minute. Use any words you can recall related to the topic. Dictation practice. Listen to short audio clips in English and write down what you hear. This helps with spelling and word retention. Mirror practice. Stand in front of a mirror and talk to yourself about your day, plans, or a topic you're interested in. Focus on recalling and using new vocabulary. Part 9. Tackling specific situations. Travel conversations. Learn travel-related vocabulary and practice dialogues like, booking a hotel. I'd like to reserve a room for 2 nights. Asking for directions. Can you tell me how to get to the train station? Workplace English. Focus on professional terminology. Example, deadline, presentation, collaboration. Practice introducing yourself. My name is Sarah. I work in marketing and I specialize in social media campaigns. Social conversations. Learn small talk phrases like, how's it going? Or, what have you been up to? Practice responses to common questions. Emergency scenarios. Memorize key phrases for emergencies. I need help, or where is the nearest hospital? Part 10. Emotional management. While speaking mindfulness techniques, take deep breaths before speaking to calm your nerves. Relaxed minds recall better. Affirmations. Repeat positive statements to build confidence. I can express myself in English. It's okay to make mistakes. I'm learning. Desensitization. Expose yourself to speaking situations gradually. Start with trusted friends, then move to strangers, and eventually public settings. Part 11. Leveraging advanced learning tools, AI-powered practice. Chat with AI tools like ChatGPT to simulate conversations and get corrections in real time. Virtual reality, VR. Use VR apps for immersive language experiences. Practice ordering food at a virtual restaurant or asking for directions in a simulated city. Interactive grammar checkers. Grammarly and other tools not only check grammar but also suggest vocabulary improvements. Voice assistants. Talk to Alexa, Siri, or Google Assistant to practice daily tasks like setting reminders in English. Part 12. Building a rich vocabulary. Focus on collocations. Learn word pairings that are commonly used together. Example, make a decision, fast food, highly unlikely. Study idioms and phrasal verbs, common idioms. Break the ice, start a conversation, hit the books, study hard. Phrasal verbs, look up, search for, turn in, submit. Etymology, Part 13, dealing with forgetting mid-sentence. Paraphrasing, if you forget a specific word, explain the idea using simpler language. Example, if you forget bicycle, say, the thing with 2 wheels you ride. Gesture and context. Use hand gestures or point to objects when words escape you. Nonverbal communication often bridges gaps. Simplify your thought process. Break down complex ideas into simpler chunks instead of trying to say, I went to the museum to see the new exhibition about ancient Egyptian artifacts. Simplify to, I went to a museum. They had things from ancient Egypt. Part 14. Immersion without traveling. Simulated immersion. Watch English shows or listen to music, podcasts, and audiobooks daily. Join online communities. Participate in forums like Reddit's R English Learning or Quora discussions. Set language challenges. Speak or write exclusively in English for certain periods. Part 15. Overcoming plateaus. Switch learning methods. If reading is getting monotonous, try listening or speaking exercises. Set new goals. Challenge yourself to read a book in English or give a short speech. Learn advanced vocabulary. Delve into specific topics like business English, academic writing, or conversational slang. Conclusion. The path forward mastering spoken English and overcoming forgetfulness is a journey. It involves consistent practice, exposure, and patience. By incorporating these strategies into your daily routine, you'll not only improve word recall but also gain the confidence to express yourself fluently in English. Learn the origins of words to understand their meaning and usage better. Example: photograph comes from Greek roots. Photo, light, plus graph, drawing. A real-life story. Maria's journey to fluent English introduction. Maria, a 29-year-old from Spain, always dreamed of working abroad. She was a talented graphic designer and had her sights set on moving to London to work in a creative agency. However, there was one major obstacle in her path: speaking English confidently. Maria could understand the language well enough, but whenever she tried to speak, she would forget words, hesitate, and end up feeling embarrassed. This is Maria's story of overcoming her struggle with forgetting words and how she built her confidence step by step. Maria's starting point. Maria's English learning journey began in her small hometown in Spain. She had studied the language in school but had limited opportunities to practice speaking. Her vocabulary was decent, and she could write emails and read articles, but speaking was an entirely different challenge. When Maria attempted to join conversations, she often froze. She would forget basic words like restaurant or appointment and stumble over sentences, leaving her feeling discouraged. The worst part was during job interviews. On one occasion, she tried to explain her skills, but couldn't recall the word portfolio. Instead, she said, "The thing with my designs." The interviewer smiled politely, but Maria felt she had blown her chance. "I felt like I was always 2 steps behind," Maria later said. "I knew the words somewhere in my mind, but when I needed them, they just disappeared." The turning point. Maria realized she needed a change after another embarrassing moment during a video call. A client asked her about design trends she followed, and although she knew the answer, she couldn't find the words to express herself. She ended up saying, "I like the things that are modern." After the call, she felt frustrated and even considered giving up her dream of working abroad. That evening, Maria decided to take action. She researched strategies for improving spoken English and started implementing them the very next day. Maria's step-by-step approach. Daily vocabulary practice. Maria began keeping a small notebook where she wrote down 5 new words every day, along with example sentences. She carried it everywhere, reviewing it whenever she had free time. She focused on practical words related to her profession, like layout, typography, and branding, and made an effort to use them in her daily conversations. Speaking to herself. Every morning, Maria would spend 5 minutes in front of a mirror talking about her day in English. Initially, she felt silly, but soon she noticed improvements in her fluency. Role-playing scenarios. Maria practiced real-life situations she might encounter, like introducing herself in a meeting or explaining her design ideas. She recorded herself and played it back to identify mistakes and areas for improvement. Language exchange partners. She joined a language exchange app and connected with Sarah, a native English speaker from the UK who wanted to learn Spanish. They agreed to practice 30 minutes of Spanish and 30 minutes of English each week. During these sessions, Sarah patiently corrected Maria's mistakes, and Maria gained confidence by speaking without fear of judgment. Overcoming forgetfulness. Maria developed strategies to deal with forgetting words. Paraphrasing, if she forgot portfolio, she would say, the collection of my work. Fillers. She used phrases like, let me think, or what's the word, to buy time. Gesture. Support. Maria learned to use hand gestures to explain her point when words failed her. Immersion techniques. Maria immersed herself in English by watching TV shows like Friends and The Office with subtitles. She paused to note down new expressions and practiced them later. She also switched her phone and social media settings to English, forcing herself to think in the language daily. Small wins and building momentum. Maria started noticing small victories along the way. During a casual dinner with her colleagues, she confidently described a recent design trend, using words like minimalist and aesthetic that she had recently learned. On a video call with a potential client, Maria remembered to say, let me think, instead of panicking when she forgot the word iconography. A second later, the word came back to her, and she completed her sentence smoothly. Each small win boosted her confidence and motivated her to keep going. The big test. After months of consistent effort, Maria landed an interview with a prestigious design agency in London. She was nervous but prepared. During the interview, she used strategies she had practiced. When asked about her work process, she explained it clearly, even adding some design-related terms she had practiced, like wireframes and mock-ups. When she momentarily forgot the word deadline, she calmly said, the time when the project needs to be finished, and moved on. The interviewer was impressed with her composure and ability to communicate ideas clearly despite being a non-native speaker. A week later, Maria received an offer letter from the agency. Maria's reflections. Today, Maria works as a graphic designer in London, collaborating with international clients and colleagues daily. She still occasionally forgets words, but has learned to handle those moments gracefully. Language learning is like designing, Maria often says. It's a process of trial, error, and creativity. The more you practice, the better you get. And just like with design, you never stop learning. New challenges, new growth. Settling into London. After Maria moved to London, her excitement was mixed with apprehension. She had achieved her dream job, but now she faced a new set of challenges. Conversations in the office were much faster than what she was used to during her practice sessions. Her colleagues often used idiomatic expressions, slang, and cultural references that she didn't understand. For example, during her first week at work, a coworker said, "Let's touch base about the project tomorrow." Maria was puzzled. What did touching a base have to do with their design work? She smiled and nodded, but later looked it up, learning it meant to catch up or discuss. Maria realized that her English learning journey was far from over. She needed to adapt quickly to the nuances of real-life, professional communication in a native-speaking environment. A new strategy for office life learning office lingo. Maria created a special notebook for phrases and idioms she encountered at work. Some of her early entries included, "Let's circle back, revisit a topic later," "low-hanging fruit," "easy tasks or goals," "in the pipeline," "something in progress." She made it a habit to research these phrases at the end of each day and practice using them in sentences. Listening more, speaking smarter. Maria realized she didn't have to contribute to every conversation. Instead, she focused on listening carefully to how her colleagues expressed themselves. When she spoke, she used simple, clear language to ensure her message was understood. Asking questions without fear. Instead of pretending to understand everything, Maria began asking for clarification. She would say, "Sorry, could you explain what you mean by that?" Her colleagues appreciated her curiosity and were happy to help. Building connections through language. Maria also wanted to build friendships outside work. She knew this would improve her English and help her feel less isolated in a foreign city. Joining a book club. Maria joined an English-speaking book club to meet new people. While discussing books, she learned new vocabulary and improved her ability to articulate opinions. The first book she read with the group was To Kill a Mockingbird. She struggled with some expressions, but enjoyed the discussions. Exploring hobbies. She took up yoga classes where the instructor spoke in English. Initially, she found it hard to follow, but soon she picked up new words like stretch, pose, and breathe deeply. Maria also joined a cooking class where participants shared recipes. She learned conversational phrases like, "Can you pass me the salt?" and "What's your secret ingredient?" Language meetups. At local language exchange events, Maria practiced English with native speakers and helped others learn Spanish. This mutual exchange boosted her confidence and made her realize she was not alone in facing language challenges. The first big presentation. A few months into her job, Maria's manager asked her to present a branding concept to a major client. The presentation would be in English, and Maria was terrified. She spent weeks preparing. She practiced her speech multiple times in front of a mirror, recorded herself to check pronunciation, and rehearsed with her language partner, Sarah. She also prepared for potential questions by brainstorming answers and learning key design-related terms. On the day of the presentation, Maria's nerves kicked in, but she remembered her strategies. Pausing to think. When she forgot a word, she calmly took a breath and used simpler phrases to explain her point. Using visuals. She let her slides do much of the talking, ensuring her designs were clear and easy to understand. Engaging the audience. Maria asked the clients questions like, "Does this align with your brand vision?" to make the presentation interactive. The presentation was a success. The clients praised her creative ideas, and her manager commended her clarity and professionalism. It was a pivotal moment that boosted Maria's self-confidence. facing setbacks. Not everything was smooth sailing. There were times Maria still felt frustrated, like when she misunderstood instructions or couldn't follow a fast-paced conversation. One day, during a team brainstorming session, Maria misunderstood the phrase, "take it with a grain of salt," and thought her colleague was criticizing her idea. She grew quiet for the rest of the meeting. Later, a kind co-worker explained the phrase meant, "don't take it too seriously." Maria learned an important lesson. Mistakes were part of the learning process. Instead of dwelling on them, she focused on what she could learn. She even began keeping a lessons journal, where she noted down misunderstandings and what she learned from them. Becoming a mentor. As Maria's confidence grew, so did her responsibilities at work. She became known for her unique design perspective and her ability to explain complex ideas simply, which resonated with clients. One day, her manager asked her to mentor a new intern, Liam, who had recently moved to London from Germany. Liam struggled with the same challenges Maria had faced, forgetting words, hesitating in conversations, and feeling out of place. Maria shared her story with Liam and gave him practical advice. Don't aim for perfection. Focus on getting your message across. If you forget a word, don't panic. Use the words you know or describe what you mean. Immerse yourself in English every day, even if it's just listening to a podcast during your commute. She even introduced him to her language exchange partner, Sarah, and suggested some of the apps and strategies she had used. Maria's reflection and growth. Looking back on her journey, Maria felt proud of how far she had come. What once seemed impossible, speaking English fluently and confidently, was now a reality. She still made mistakes, but she no longer feared them. Maria also realized that learning English had given her more than just a career boost. It had taught her resilience, creativity, and the value of stepping out of her comfort zone. She started a blog to share her experiences and tips with others facing similar challenges. Her posts like 5 phrases I wish I'd learned sooner and How to Stay Confident When You Forget Words resonated with readers worldwide. Maria's final thought. In one of her blog posts, Maria wrote, "Language learning is like planting a garden. At first, it feels like hard work, and progress is slow. But with patience, care, and consistent effort, it blossoms into something beautiful. Remember, every conversation, every mistake, every new word learned is a seed planted. Keep planting, and your garden will grow." Maria's journey continues, not just as a learner, but as an inspiration for others.